Welcome to this session. And from this time onwards, for this course, we are going to divide this session into two parts. So initially, we will take up your questions, if there is any. I'm sure there are always questions. We will take it up. We'll answer them to the best of our capacity and your satisfaction. And then for the remaining time, or for some part of the session, we will discuss how language works as data for understanding what you are planning to do at large. Pretty soon you are going to be graduates of data science, and you're going to understand data through computer programming, and you're going to do a lot more than I understand about it. But I will try to help and make you see how language works as data in data science. So these are the two things that we will do, one after the other. So let's start with the questions, if you have any, and then then I'll start talking about what I mean by language as data, or how that helps, or if you have any questions about that as well, we can take them up. So let me take your questions first. It's been almost a week. It's the last day of this year. So any question about any part of the course? This is English 2. You have gone through English 1, so you can ask me or us questions related to any part of the course about the structure, about the language, and then we will go back to what the other things that we are planning to do. So go ahead with your questions here. I think there are roughly 35 people on this session. So what we are going to do is, as I said, we answer your questions first, and then we go to. So you can just, I think it is possible as of now, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you feel like, you can write your questions in the chat box.
Hello, sir. This is Ramakrishna.
Go ahead, Krishna. Sure.
When I see the high-level syllabus for English 1 and English 2, it looks almost same. So my question is, what additional effort and how I should put my effort so that that is useful both in grading as well as in the life, in the career?
You see, Ramakrishna, almost is a very tricky word. Okay. So how does it look the same to you? Because when we designed it, we did not design it keeping in mind that we are going to make it same. The other part of your question about how to get better prepared, I come to that, but can you help me understand that? How did you get this idea?
I mean, most of the syllabus is about how we can speak fluently, the grammar, and then I mean, in the second semester, we have more on writing and other items also. But I felt like, because I cannot compare it exactly like when it comes to other subjects which are technical, there is difference I can distinguish easily. Whereas English, it's more of how I can put it. Maybe I need to better myself in language in all the aspects like grammar and listening, writing, right? So it's maybe I'm not exactly correct on my first statement. So, but my question still stands.
No. You might be. I am not questioning your understanding. You might be correct, but I only wanted to. Hang on, guys. I'm coming back to you, Sudhakar and Sandeepan. No, I just wanted to understand how you felt that way. So you might be right. But anyway, about the other parts of your question, we will keep on talking about them, and I'm coming to that in a moment. So I get it. I can't talk about other courses, but I'll come back to that. Okay, Sudhakar, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very much audible. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. And successfully completed my English 1, and I'm now into English 2 section. So previously, like I found some difficulties in finding the stress patterns exactly for the words in sentence. So can you like enlighten me on some part of how I can
Okay.
get the
Yeah,
stress patterns correct?
yeah. I see your question in the
Yeah,
chat
in the
box.
chat
Yeah,
also.
coming to that question in a moment.
Yeah, thank you.
Sandeepan, I'm taking
Actually,
it.
very
Start.
similar to last question. Actually, I also lost a lot of points last semester in English 1 on the stress patterns. I have tried with my hand, as taught in the videos, to understand where the stress patterns is coming. Especially the problem I'm facing is listening and then interpreting the stress pattern, because not always that I can interpret exactly the way the speaker is speaking. So sometimes the stress pattern is getting messed up from my side, of course.
Okay, so I'll try to respond to these things in a very different way, and that will incorporate Ramakrishna's concerns or question as well, and how to work on it. You see, uh, uh, when learning of language, or better to say, learning is easier. That is, when we are learning something completely afresh, it is much easier. Working on improvements on what we know is little uh, tough and different from learning afresh. That's one. At the same time, learning of other things, that is tools, techniques, and rules, is different from improving your language. For example, when you write, when we try to learn 2 plus 2 equals to 4, uh, kindergarten addition, it's very simple. We can we put some numerical value on the left of the addition sign and some on the right, and the total of it on the other side of the equal sign, and that becomes the total of it. A lot of machines are designed like calculators and so on, and you can do these calculations for any numbers. Some people can do these things manually as well, very fast. Unfortunately, that's not how language works. We keep working and working and working, and we get very little out of it. So, and a stress pattern happens to be one of them. We wanted you to go through that, and we have taken you through understanding how stress works. Primarily to understand there is something called stress, and it has its own pattern in English. One. Two, as a footnote, I want to add this to you, or to all of you. You see, when we say improvements, it's tough thing again to articulate. We don't mean the way we are doing things are not right. That is, the way you are speaking English is not right. That's not what we mean. But we are definitely talking about improving it further. What does improvement mean? Improvement means there are certain we try to address these things time to time. That is about standard or or what is a standard and why is a standard important. We can talk about all these things, but still, all these things that we have given to you, like a stress pattern, understanding about a stress pattern is about uh, improving it towards making it more standard, in the sense that reaching close to native speakers. These were the ideas. Again, I conclude by this part by saying the idea is not that what we are doing and the way we are speaking is wrong. So having said that this much, I want to tell you that, stress, we can definitely, we to figure it out, we have to hear, and we will have to hear how it is spoken, and therefore we have given you the tests. And somebody mentioned that I have also lost a lot of marks in that. On that point, it draws my attention, and to make a sincere request to you. And remember, I just now mentioned that learning of language and improvements on language is very different from learning anything else. So please do not look at only your marks, and please do not evaluate your learning only with the losing or gaining of few marks, a few points. So these are the generic things that I had to say. Now, to be more specific, to be more specific, please understand that you always need to keep in mind this term, syllable. If you want to improve your stress pattern, please keep this notion in mind, that there is something called syllable. That is, a word can be of one syllable or more than one syllable. So one syllable words are called monosyllabic, and there is no question of a stress in monosyllabic word. And this is why monosyllabic words are important. No stress in monosyllabic words. The question of a stress comes only when you have a word with more than one syllable, that is at least two syllables. So the fewer number of syllables in a word, easier your task. That is, if you have a word with two syllables, you only have to figure out whether it's on the first one or the other one or the second one. But the greater the number of syllables, the tougher the job. Meaning, there will always be only one syllable that is going to be stressed. So the simple things to keep in mind is, and this doesn't work when we speak. This can work only for practice. This can work when you are working with a pen and paper. And this is why we have recommended you, and even now I am recommending you. There is no shortcut to these things. So let me add that right up front. Sudhakar, are you with me? Can you hear me on that? So there is absolutely no shortcut on that. And when I say there is no shortcut, what is the way out? The way out is the following. If you are genuinely interested in figuring it out completely, I recommend you to make a list of at least 20 words for a couple of weeks. Not every day. If you can do it twice or three times in a week. Make a list of 20 words which have at least three syllables in it, not only two syllabic words, because I just now talked about monosyllabic and bisyllabic words, at least three syllables. The first thing you can do is you speak the word and try to see when you speak, where is the stress in that. Keep that on one sheet. Then, as we have mentioned in videos as well, there are a lot of tools available online which will tell you, like dictionaries, which will tell you where exactly, that is on what syllable do you have a word in do you have a stress in a particular word. So check it from the authentic source and do it for yourself first. if you do twice a week for 3 weeks, I feel like I'm talking like a medicine doctor, take a medicine morning or evening. But please do not compare it with that. Take twice a week or 3 times a week, 20 words for 3 weeks. You will get a very fair idea about how syllabification and stress on a particular syllable works. Keeping in background the idea that it's related to syllable and it's only related to a word which has multiple syllables. And finally, stress within a syllable also comes on the vowel sound. These things as background knowledge and this practice together can help you uh, overcome these difficulties in finding stress patterns in a word. This is what I meant, that there is no shortcut and there is no shorter way. This will be helpful, and please do it and see if it works for you or not. There is no textbook. There is no we English materials or materials related to English language. There is this ocean of materials available online. Some of them are pretty good. A lot of them are pretty good, but very few of them will take you through these things. That is precisely because these are not easy things to do. Again, I stick to my suggestion. Please do this much along with your reading and writing and speaking practices. You will definitely add improvements in what you are doing.
Okay, sir.
Sandeepan,
Thank you.
is that making sense? So
Yes,
On
sir.
that note, actually, sir.
I spoke a very simple point. I could have told you this thing even without the preface, but I I what I mean to say is I meant everything that I said, and therefore please look at these aspects. It will be helpful. Who is this AB? Somebody has AB has hands up.
Sir, hi. My name is Apul Bhatia.
Okay, Apple,
So
please go ahead.
the Zoom just recognizes me as AV, and that is where I'm continuing as AV.
Okay, you can try changing your name. Maybe it will recognize
Yes,
you as Apple also.
yes. So,
Go
sir,
ahead.
first of all, many thanks for your time for this particular session. My question is in reference to again syllables and jumping to the point. All of us use Google. So, from your lectures, right? From your lectures, we read, we understand the questions we attempt, and then we use Google. Now, my question is, can you tell, for example, the word is deserve, right?
Mhm.
We, when we write deserve in Google, it tells us the pronunciation and it tells with the vowel sound how the word should be written.
Mhm.
My question is, how do we interpret that particular thing in our lecture in our English 1 course? It was told by Professor Chaudhary that some dictionaries will show stress, indicating stress through the beginning. Some dictionaries might show stress by putting that apostrophe after the word. I want to ask, what is the interpretation of Google and what is the interpretation of reading the phonetics when we are referring the Oxford Dictionary? So
I would suggest.
if I write the word deserve in
Mhm.
Google, the way it comes, how do I interpret with the apostrophe? The apostrophe will mean the stress is on the word on the vowel sound after apostrophe, or is the apostrophe indicating the stress is on the word prior to apostrophe? Is my question clear, or
Yeah.
should I
Your
explain?
question.
Yeah,
No.
fine.
Your question is pretty clear.
Thank
Uh,
you.
it simply means there is discrepancy between Google and Oxford Dictionary. I would still
I don't
rec-
know actually. That's where I want your help to advise what we see in Google. because
Right.
then it will become a benchmark. If you will tell right now, the apostrophe that comes indicates the stress is after the apostrophe. So we will now
Right.
refer that particular thing from Google, and it will become a standard for people who are hearing this particular
You
thing.
see, every time you see apostrophe, it means the
Yes.
stress is on the syllable that follows the apostrophe.
Is that true for what we are seeing in Google also?
I think it should be true. I haven't looked at it, but I can check and tell you.
Yes, sir. Please. Yes. Yes.
Can
That is what
somebody,
I mean.
is Kartika here? Leader, Kartika?
It is no, Kartika is not here, sir. That is how it works in the Google as well. The stress is on
Right.
the syllable that follows the
The
stress
apostrophe.
notation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Fine.
it should work that way. However, uh, Google is a pretty big company, and
Mhm.
it has a lot of things absolutely correct. However, I would suggest whenever you have difficulty, you still focus on Oxford,
Oxford.
and
Okay.
even Oxford must be hosted by Google. Okay, but that is the Oxford dictionary must be hosted by Google. But usually, not usually, certainly, that marker, it's not actually apostrophe. It looks like apostrophe. So let's call it
Mhm.
apostrophe marker.
Hmm.
It indicates the syllable which will have a stress on it, and
Okay.
that's what is being indicated
Taught in
through
this course also.
those markers, and we are following that as well,
Yes, sir.
because, and I'll tell you the rationale for that. Why it is not at the end of the syllable. Okay, because sometimes, see, there is another part of a stress which we have not discussed in this course, and you mentioned phonetics. You see, when people study stress in in a discipline like phonetics or phonology, it's not, we are struggling with what we call, uh, you are unable to, can you,
Sorry, I would just
no,
correct my
just
statement.
just a
I did
minute,
not mean phonetics.
Apple,
Sure.
just a moment. Please wait.
Sure.
Sri Balaji, if somebody from admin, if you are there, can you please make Kartika as admin or something? She's unable to unmute herself. Can you please help her? She is online, but she's unable to unmute herself. Okay. Uh, Now coming to that, Apple. So no,
Sir, I
I'm not saying you meant anything otherwise. All I am saying is there is something called secondary stress.
hmm,
We are only dealing with in this course, because this is not about phonetics or linguistics. This is about learning of language. So we are only dealing with primary stress, and therefore the marker in the beginning of the syllable is important, because secondary stress is indicated in a different way. Hence, this comes in the beginning. Okay.
perfect, sir. Perfect.
All
So
right.
with phonetics, I use the word phonetics, but actually I meant the vowel sound, the sound, the
Okay.
way of writing the sound is what I meant.
Okay. That is, you meant phonetic symbols. You meant
Phonetic symbols, right, sir? Phonetic symbols, right.
yeah, that's okay. So you see, there is something called International Phonetic. Ram Prasad, I'm coming to you. There is something called International Phonetic Association. They have designed International Phonetic Alphabet. That's for transcription, and that's used primarily for languages other than English, for transcribing their words and so on. But we use certain symbols in English as well. But in this course, we are trying to avoid. We are planning on doing a video on IPA, so that if at all we use something, or you see something somewhere, you should be able to understand what that is. But to the best of possible extent, we are trying to avoid it, so that uh, uh, we are only using symbols which are easy to type and easy to find on the surface of the keyboard and so on. We are not trying to use APA symbols, but we understand about phonetic symbols. So that's about stress. But again, in as the last point of your question as well, I can say stress is something abstract. It's tough for us because our languages do not indicate stress the way it works in English. So if we want to improve on our Englishes, we need to pay attention to certain things. And by paying attention to just a few things, we take a quantum leap. We have potential to improve it further. Hence, in a course like this, we are talking about this, and we want to underline and tell you even here that you see there is you, somebody I forgot the name. Somebody mentioned in the beginning there is uh, uh, huge correspondence between the two courses. Of course, there will be correspondence between two courses because we can't cut language courses into pieces and slices and bring only the newer things. We can only build on existing things. So even if we talk about secondary stress, that is going to be part of stress. But that's not the goal for this course, to discuss secondary stress. But please, like I said, take 20 words. It's called learning by making your hands dirty. Uh, do take a pen and paper. Not everything can be done on the computer screen. Take a pen and paper. Do make a list of words. Do look at syllables, vowels within a syllable, stress in that, and it's not just, it won't be boring. It depends on individuals, but I promise you, it has never been boring to me and to the people who have reported to us doing it properly. So please work on this. It will have a lot of impact, and we can talk about stress. Like you mentioned the word deserve. You see, it's beautiful to understand, and particularly, I'm going to bring this thing up when we talk about language as data. See how human mind operates with the principle of economy. Using the stress pattern, it tells you how one word, how in one situation it's a noun, how in the other situation it becomes a verb. So we'll talk about some other things of that sort. Is that?
So can I ask a very stupid question?
Uh, uh, Please go ahead. Ram Prasad, I'm coming to you. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
So what is the difference between linguistic and semantic? I mean, the similarity also, I have no idea. Can we just...
Who is this? This was not AB.
So my name is Sandeepan.
Sandeepan. Oh, no. See, what was that? Semantic, and you mentioned something else?
Linguistic and semantic.
Yeah. See, first of all, please do not hesitate. You can ask any question. Okay. No question is a bad question. Linguistics is a larger, let's say, a larger picture, and semantics is a smaller unit of that picture. Semantics refers to meaning. When we try to study meaning in language, that is called semantics. Linguistics includes everything else: meaning, structure, patterns. Uh, Pattern could be a pattern at the level of word, like a stress, or how many syllables. Patterns could be at the level of sentence, like uh, it's invisible stuff like tense or aspects or words or nouns or pronouns. So study of all these things together is called linguistics. Study of only meaning. How do we make meaning? How do we mean something? This becomes part of semantics. Is that clear, Sandeep?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay.
So this is Abul. Thank you very much for answering my question. And also, I would like some insights from you on long vowel and short vowel. If you want to take up another questions first and then come back,
Sure.
that's
I will
also
come back.
fine. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, just a moment. Ram Prasad first. Go ahead, and then Akash.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, my question is slightly off topic, but still associated with the stress and syllable aspect of the language. Actually, sir, in today's world, if we read modern poetry, there is no general concept of rhyme scheme and rhythms. But in older times, when we can talk of Shakespeare or William Wordsworth or John Keats, they wrote in a proper rhyme scheme, and that to be with a rhythm, what is the concept of stressed and unstressed and syllable aspect. So let's suppose if we will say that generally all the sonnets of William Shakespeare were written in iambic pentameter. So in iambic meter, pentameter means there are 5 foot, that is 10 syllables, and where a stressed syllables follows an unstressed syllable. This is the pattern. Let's suppose in William Wordsworth's Solitary Reaper, it's written in iambic tetrameter. Suppose behold her single in the field. So when there was when in poetry where there is a concept of stress and unstressed, so in suppose iambic stressed syllable follows an unstressed syllable. But for stress and unstressed concept, we can consider bisyllabic words. But for monosyllabic words, there is no concept of stress and unstressed. So how they used it? So let's suppose behold means be was unstressed and hold was stressed. So it follows the iambic pattern. Her was unstressed, in single scene was stressed, and Gil was unstressed. But in the behold her single in the field, in is taken as unstressed and the is taken as unstressed, but they are both monosyllabic words. So how this was?
Well, this is you're talking about a lot of things which I understand, but not to the extent that you understand, or probably any student of literature would understand. I will say only two things, but going backwards in the direction you said. In and the are both monosyllabic words, but these poets are taking them one as stressed, the other as unstressed. So, there is something called poetic licensing and poetic freedom. So maybe poets are taking in the as one word, where they are allowing a stress on one and not on the other. And that's how they are making it as one word of 2 syllables. This will be the simplest explanation that I can give you. However, in their discipline of whether it is pentameter or something, they have a particular way of counting it. So they count only they are counting syllables. So in that way, monosyllabic words are counted as just one syllable in their scheme. But they work in a very different way, and as non-technical people, whatever we don't understand, we brush them as poetic licensing or poetic freedom. But I also want to tell you, you mentioned something about ancient poetry and modern poetry. Uh, Modern poetry requires a lot of freedom to express what people want to express, and pre-modern, whatever that means,
Classical
poetry
poetry.
was probably more disciplined in a particular way. They wanted to do under a particular discipline, and to say the least, the modern discipline is of a different type. These are the only two things that I understand and I can say about it. I would suggest you to have a detailed conversation about this with somebody who understands literature pretty well, and they can definitely throw stronger lights on these things, and that will help you understand. And why I am asking you in particular to have a conversation with people who understand literature, poetry in particular, because understanding such things has dramatic impact on how you speak and how your language improves. So for the purpose of improving language, namely English, in this case, such conversation will have a very nice impact.
Yes, sir. So actually, initially while I was reading the poetry, we could just understand the concept of rhyme scheme. But after getting to the course, when I came to know about stressed and unstressed and syllable stuff, then when I again went through this those poems, so my mind always wanted to understand what is this stressed and unstressed concept used in this poem. So that's why I asked you this question.
No, very, very nice. See, they are all related. We didn't go all the way towards rhyme, but there is a point where we have discussed rhyme as well, maybe in English too.
Yes, sir.
But they are all related, and the role of understanding syllabification and stress within syllabification is definitely going to be helpful in understanding poetic uh, discipline. That is the discipline of what one meant by pentameter or so, and its impact on how people speak now. They are all connected. And like I have mentioned multiple times in discussions, uh, in discussions, just one moment. Uh, Multiple times in discussions that uh, the, the learning and improving language is a very complex cognitive process. It's not going to be visible in a mathematical way. It just adds up on top of one another, and the totality of its impact, one has to be patient to be visible.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure. I'm coming back to the question about vowels in a moment. Akash, you had a question?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So yeah, there's one thing I was always confused about, that what does it mean to be good at some language, right? I mean, while studying English 1, uh, I started doing conversation with some of my native English speaker friends who were also trying to learn Hindi. And while talking to them, I just felt that they speak Hindi so grammatically correct that it doesn't even feel natural, right? And it also goes in the opposite direction as well. Like I also shared my English 1 topics, just like the clusters, and I was asking about what clusters mean and other things. And they also said that they don't even know about I mean what the clusters is. Actually, they said it just like they were speaking from the start, so they don't even know about. And the same goes about some facts in Hindi that I didn't understand. What is it grammatically right or wrong? So I was just confused that what is my end goal, that when I say I'm trying to be good at some language, because is it the grammar that I'm trying to be good at? Is it the accent I'm trying to copy? And even if there is we are trying to understand their accent, there is a lot of accents. And yeah, so this is the thing. I mean, what actually means to be good at some language?
Okay, very nice question. Uh, we are in a process of sending you something. If it has not reached you already, it will help you set your goals and make you understand uh, what goals are. You mentioned somewhere, therefore I am saying that. Now, coming back to what does it mean to be good at language? Uh, to make it simpler, probably it means everything that you said about language. One needs to be good at each one of these things to be good at language, and more importantly, how confidently you express yourself in the target language, in the new language that you are learning. The totality of your expression, not not about words or grammaticality alone, but the totality of your confidence and the intention of the target. That is why you are using that language. If you are able to meet these goals, then you are good at that language. To be good at Hindi, I don't need to write stories or poetry. If I can communicate myself properly, if I can make sense, if people understand me properly, and if I can perform the functions, that is, and that functions I have to decide why I need to use Hindi, then I'm good at Hindi. Similarly, if you can do all things that you are expected to do in English, then you are good at the language. Improvement is a continuous process, and like you mentioned, some of your friends could not answer certain questions like cluster. That's very normal and natural for speakers of all languages, because native speakers do not learn the language the way we are learning. At some point, we have made this distinction that how learning works before 10 years of age, then how learning works after 10 years of age, after 15 years of age. Again, I am sorry, I don't remember whether this video was part of English 1 or it's going to come up for you. But learning of a language is a continuous process, but the way it works for people before 10 years of our age is such that we are not aware of grammatical or, for that matter, any kind of rules of the language. So no native speaker of either Punjabi or Hindi or English will tell you what cluster means. Cluster is only a way to understand how two sounds come together to describe certain things. And if we have described cluster, we have given you examples of how to understand. So you are absolutely right. The learning of language as a child, as a native speaker, is different from learning of language at a later stage. Learning of language at a later stage is restricted to its purposes, and if you are able to do those purposes, perform those functions, then you are good at that language. Only your performance will tell you whether you need to improve it or not. If it requires improvements, then first you need to identify where exactly I need to improve. A lot of those things may not be related to language. A lot of those things are also related to our personality, our attitude, how we look at the work. Sometimes we don't like the work and we blame it on language. Sometimes we don't like the people that we work with and we blame it on other things. So we need to identify what we are doing, what we need to do, and what we don't need to do, and then identify whether we are successful in meeting the functions of the target language or not. And then you well, my last sentence is only you can tell whether you are good at language or not. No test, the test that we give you, no test can finally determine whether you are good at a language or not. Okay,
So
Akash?
does that mean like hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So does that mean let's say I'm in a group of peoples and they all speak English, but I learned English. They were native and I learned English and I'm talking to them.
Yes.
But the thing is, I might be correct on the statements, but I will not be able to mix with them because uh, my accent is different. Maybe I'm too much grammatically correct with them. I
No,
don't know
Akash,
about
Akash,
their like
Akash, let
hello.
me interrupt here. No, not at all. See, your accent and the way you speak never becomes a problem for others to understand. Okay, people are aware of differences. I speak differently, you speak differently. We are aware of differences, and we all live with an idea of what we know as social tolerance and mutual understanding, mutual respect. So it's not that you are not going to be in a position to mix with them. You are always going to be reminded of your difference, and that is going to stay. What I am talking about is, if you are performing the function for which you need English and you are meeting the goals, then you are good at this language.
Mhm.
And your continuous efforts in improving it by sheer use of the language will make you more and more confident over number of years. Over the more time that you spend, the more confident you are going to feel about the language. That's all. That is the crux of it that I can tell you. So don't worry about whether I can mix with them or not. Sometimes we don't mix with another Hindi speaker. So mixing is again dependent on a lot of other things, not just on language. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Sanjeev Kumar Yadav.
Yeah. Thank.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, I am facing problem in speaking in stressed word. Sir, I can speak some word. Sir, can you follow me?
Yeah, I can follow you. Please go ahead, speak. Sanjeev, I can hear you. Unmute yourself. You are mute.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Speak now. You are mute again, Sanjeev. There is something wrong. You have to unmute yourself. You were mute until now. I could not hear you. Speak now. I can hear
Hello,
you.
sir. Hello.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you. I have some very sad news for all of you, for all of our fellow citizens. Sir, when I speak fellow citizens, I want to stress fellow, fellow, fellow. And citizens, I want to stress citizens. When I speak both words, it make pause. So I want to be diminished, sir, making it properly. I want to speak properly. So what I can do, sir?
Okay. You see, uh, learning to speak properly and with the pauses and meeting the goal is not difficult, Sanjeev. What it requires is we don't need to be hesitant, and we need to make efforts. And I can tell you that uh, uh, we have a lot of sessions live where you can join and in a smaller group, and you can, if there aren't people to speak with you, you can also do practices with us. And to improve different aspects of the language, we have different kinds of activities. So what I can, I understand the example that you gave, and you, if I understand you correctly, you are asking how do I improve the gaps and difficulties that I have in speaking. So we have a lot of sessions coming up. All I can recommend you and request you is to join those sessions and patiently spend time on that. Please understand, I'm speaking in a class, and I am speaking with full responsibility that everybody wants to improve English, but people do not want to spend time with English. That is, people do not want to spend time with language. They want to spend time with other things they consider important. So, and you can be good at other things only when you are good at language. People are going to consider you a serious data scientist when you speak good English. There is no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
You can be very good technical engineer, but if you cannot express yourself properly, people are not interested in you to a great extent. By interested, I mean people are not going to give you high salaried job. To get high salaried job, you need to speak English very well. And I'm not speaking only to you, I'm speaking to everybody, and I'm speaking to both those who are going to look for job and those who are going to give jobs. If there are people here and if you are going to be an employer, think about it from your employer, as from your perspective as an employer. Who are you going to hire? Those who cannot speak English? Will you hire, if you have a company, will you hire somebody who cannot speak English? That is properly. So having said that much, what I am telling you is we know about these difficulties, and we know the difficulties at different levels for different people. Can you guys hold on? Just hold on for a moment. There is some noise outside my office. I'll talk to those people and I'll be back in a moment. Just hold on for a moment.
Yes, sir.
Hi. Hi. थोड़ा आवाज बंद करो. मैं कंप्यूटर पर मीटिंग में हूँ. अंदर 20 minutes के बाद आऊँगा. Okay, sorry about that. So please join our sessions and take advantage of that. And I am saying this because you see, one of the ways in which this program at IIT Madras, that is the online degree program in data science and programming, is different. And particularly I can speak for our sessions and this course on English, is we are spending more time live with participants than many programs, which many live courses. You can go to any instructor, English instructor, probably they won't spend this much time with you in person as much we are spending live. We are live almost every day with the different aspects of English. We're doing different things. Your calendar will get populated with all those things, and please follow those things and try to. I'm not saying everybody must join. I'm saying if you feel you need help, we have help available for you. Okay. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So which are these sessions? Because I attended English 1, and after taking some other papers, now I'm attending English 2. But between English 1 till now, I did not get any invite for any of the live sessions. Are you talking about something that will happen, or these live sessions that we are doing right now? Do you refer to that or some other?
I will explain. Just hold on for one moment.
Sure.
I'm sorry, who was Aziz? Who was speaking?
Sir, Apul, AB.
Apul. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, sorry. Yeah, AB. Okay. No, Apul, we have had several sessions for English 1 as well. Lida, are you around? Kartika is unable to connect, but Lida, are you around?
I'm here, sir.
Yeah. So, and Aishwarya, are these things populated to everybody on English 1 as well?
Sir, English 1 also we have new set of sessions that will begin from next week, sir.
No, that is true. But what I'm saying is when these are English 2 people, when they were in English 1, we were still doing several sessions, right?
Yes, they had sessions like particularly for them. We had learned the rope, and additionally, I think Speak With as well. Yeah, Speak With was available for them, And Read with Us was also available. That is for everybody. So it was accessible to English 1 too.
So, Apol, you were not familiar with the, you did not get
No,
information.
sir. No, sir. I did not get this information about these sessions. Read or the learners.
But you know, our
I was getting all the invites for the live sessions that you are holding like this, but not for other sessions.
our calendar is populated with those information. There must be something
Sir, I'm Balaji sir from the admin team.
Yes, Balaji.
Yes, sir. I mean, they may get the invitation maybe little delay, sir, I guess. Maybe by today or tomorrow they will get, sir. Because there are some updates happening. Maybe for a few of the session, there may be a delay, sir.
Okay, no problem, Balaji. Sri Balaji, that's
yes, sir.
You are talking about information that is going to come up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are talking about last semester.
So I am no. So I did English in the first January term to 2021.
Okay.
Or maybe it was not available in January.
I think
it was not available at that point.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In January 2021 term, it wasn't there. That's why I'm saying. So, sir, I would like to request because English is something that you just cannot complete in one semester or two semester. It should be an open forum for people who are interested, and the only way to improve would be to continue participating in these kind of events. So maybe you devise something where it is open for everyone to join as and when they are able to join. Be they taking English 1 or English 2 they have completed, or down the line also, continuous improvement in this language through participating in events would be very helpful, and I personally would definitely like to be part of these ongoing events as and when it is feasible at my end. So I would request if that can be made some arrangement of that sort.
Okay, there is somebody saying there is a communication workshop beginning 5 today, right, Krishna Kumar Sharma?
Yes, sir.
So
I received this mail today.
Lida, do we have a session at 5?
Not today,
sure.
I believe.
No, it's not for today, sir. I think it's about the workshop which Shruti is supposed to conduct. So it's not for today.
Yeah. 5. Yeah. We are almost 5. Okay. So yes, Apul, we will take care of the suggestion that you are giving. I think your suggestion is already in place, where we have allowed several people to attend, whether they are currently registered in that term in English 1 or 2 or not. We are working on that basically.
Okay,
and that's a very welcome suggestion. But definitely for people doing English 2 now, I'm since all of you are in English 2 at this point, so I'm only talking about English 2. There are going to be things available for English 2 as well, and several sessions, not just one. I continue meeting with, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have spent a whole hour talking about questions. We will do that, and I tell you also what I told you. I mean that. What was I talking about? I was telling you we are ready to spend as much time as it takes, as it requires, to make sense to people. So we have scheduled these sessions for 1 hour. Like, for example, I'm talking about my session here. And out of that, my goal is going to be from here onward, my goal is going to be taking questions for half an hour and talking about how to understand language as data for the course on data science for another half an hour. But if it requires me to spend more time answering your questions, we are going to do that as well. And apart from this, we have several sessions there with different names, different people, so that you don't get bored and it doesn't become monotonous with you. Different people coming with different goals, different materials on regular basis, where you can join and take advantage of those. It's also possible, this is a language course where people from various levels are here. So it's also possible that some people already know such things, then it's not mandatory for them. But definitely for those who are looking forward to help, we have all kinds of sessions available. as much as if we have had people, if there is somebody who does not have people to talk to around them in their city, sometimes we are hesitant finding another person who is interested in learning. We have a session for such group as well, where we can spend time talking to you, helping you improve your conversational skills. So these things are available, and your calendar is going to be populated with this information, and you will keep getting regular information about these things on improving different aspects of the language.
Great to know this. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's there. Going back to your other question about vowels, you see, what was that? You were talking about geminants, the two vowels together.
Long vowels and short vowels.
Vowels and short. See that?
Again, taking the example of deserve. Now, I'm not very confident after the stress. Is that a long vowel sound or a short vowel sound?
See
Because it's difficult to interpret.
no, understandable. See, the entire, I don't mean to sound too philosophical, but entire process of learning is also called process of unlearning. So it is possible that at times we get confused and we get an idea, get a sense that I'm unable to, I'm losing what I knew already. And that's called readjustment. It starts building, and then eventually you build it as a block. As we make building blocks, it finally gets complete. So don't worry about that. Coming back to the question directly, see, vowels are fundamentals to human sounds, in the sense that we can have a word only with vowels, very few words, not too many, but we can have no word only with consonant sounds. So what happens is vowels are of different types. One way to classify vowel is they are called monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs are simple vowels. Diphthongs are vowels which start with one vowel but they end with the another one, like vowels like ow or I. So A starts with A, ends with E. Ow starts with A, ends with U. So they sound like two vowels combining together, but actually they are not two vowels, they are just one vowel. They sound like starting with one, ending with the other. That's called diphthong. Now, another way of looking at it is in terms of its duration of pronunciation. That is called, if the duration is shorter comparatively, then it is called short vowel. If the duration is longer, it's called long vowel. And please don't look at the spelling of words. Look at how we speak. So in a word like book, it's written with OO, but when you speak the word, it sounds as a short vowel, book. O is spoken relatively for a shorter duration of time than when you compare it with a word where it is longer. So can somebody give me a word with O where it is longer?
School.
Fool. Yes, that's the one that was coming to my mind too. Fool. So look at it. Book, it is coming as shorter than how it comes in fool. So U is for longer duration in the other word, but it is shorter duration in the first one, though both of them are written the same way. So writing system of English language is different. We haven't talked about that much because we don't have much to say about that. But if you pay attention to how people speak, we have examples for everything. So this is book or fool, or for examples like seat, eat. In the word eat, the initial vowel E is a long vowel. Seat. In that word, you have long vowel, long E, compared to the word sit. sit down. So E is short for shorter duration. So that's the distinction between short and long vowel. Therefore, so I'm giving you at least two ways of looking at vowels, depending upon how you look at it. One classification is between monophthongs and diphthongs. The other is short vowel and long vowel. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else has anything? Any other questions? No. Okay. You can still interject and ask your questions if you have. But since I mentioned in the beginning that I'll talk about language and data, I know it's becoming longer. I'll stop. Allow me only 3-4 minutes to at least give you an introduction of that. And then based on that introduction, the least that will happen is you will look forward to something that is coming up. So see, when you talk about data science, I am not sure to what extent you understand about it, but to large extent, data, there are two terms in that, data science. So the data is rooted in language, whether it is spoken language, written samples, or God knows what kind. When people work with it, the sample for work is going to be data for you. And the science to deal with that data, that is technology, tools, and apparatus, comes from a combination of mathematics, statistics, and computational engineering, which includes programming as well. So you learn about tools and engineering on one side to deal with something. But that thing, what you call data, is equally or in some context more important than the tool itself. And if you know what this data consists of, then you will also know what kind of tool will work for what kind of data. I am giving you something based on my rudimentary understanding of whatever I understand about it. So, the large set of data comes from spoken language. And for that, we need to understand, you see, so there are terms used, very serious, heavy terms like machine learning. Or people use another branch, another something, which means completely something different, is called deep learning. I don't want to throw terms on you, and neither do I want to tell you, see how complicated things I can talk about. I want to simplify these things for you by drawing your attention to them, to those terms. Look at both machine learning and deep learning. The critical word is learning in these two disciplines. So we owe this responsibility to understand how learning works. Think about it for yourself. You are going to make machines learn without knowing anything about it. Can one not ask the question that we can make if I can make you learn English only when I know how English learning works. So if you are going to make machines learn, you need to know how learning works. So we owe this, you owe this to yourself to make yourself understand how learning works. And third, when it comes to learning, how learning works for humans and to what extent that works with machines. So that's the learning part. And then the third point that I want to, the third and the last point for today that I want to bring to you is, when we say learning, and so look at it. The goal of technological study in 21st century. Rather, it will be nice to say beginning from the last quarter of the last century, 1975 onwards, for the and maybe little before. I don't mean these numbers seriously. Broadly speaking, last quarter of the last century, and continuing, we are almost closing the first quarter of the 21st century. So we are basically talking about 50 years and continuing hereafter. One of the goals of human endeavor is to come up with a machine which can work the way human mind functions. The way to understand how human mind functions, the sample comes from human language. If you understand how humans speak language, then you also understand how human mind works. If you understand how human mind works, it can possibly become easier for you to train how machines can learn and how machines can be designed which can work the way human minds do. Human mind does. So keeping these three aspects, these three things that I discussed with you just now, that is how human mind works, what is learning all about, and how language is the larger set of data in the entire discipline of data science. When you put these things together, you will need to understand how these three aspects are connected with one another. And the key thing that connects all the three is called language. My goal in the coming days is to show you with hands-on experience and examples, not abstract discussions, with examples to show you how the patterns underlying human mind works and how such patterns can be helpful in training machines learn better. That's what we will do time to time in the remaining half an hour when you don't have other questions, or I find half an hour is specific to talk to you about such examples, to show you these three things. Am I making sense to you? Is that clear? Does anyone have any question about what I just spoke in the last 5-6 minutes?
No, sir, it is pretty good. Thank you.
It's clear to you. That makes sense. So I look forward to seeing you further, and I will work on those things to bring them to you. And see you, right, Aishwarya? We'll meet next week, right? See you then with these things next week, same time. Is that okay?
Thank
Lira,
you, sir.
yeah, thank you. Thank everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to a good semester throughout with all of you. And I hope you have heard me or others saying this thing before. We look forward to talking to you. It's always been good and pleasure meeting with you online. Take care. Wish you all a very good and very great new year ahead. That is 2022. Hope everything works for all of you. See you next week in the new year. Sri Balaji? Aishwarya, leader, can you take care of that?
Yes, sir. I will inform him.
Sure. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.